Hi, I'm Dan Casenti. I'm a cognitive psychologist and a novelist. So I posted two videos so far to YouTube in a new series about why e-dating apps are so bad. And it's because they're using different psychological factors to try to extract more money from their customers while also delivering worse results than they could. In today's video, we're going to talk about the third factor, empty profiles. Now, this is a term that I coined to describe any profile in an e-dating platform that has no subscription backing it. And so, empty profiles are created every single time a person is committed enough to explore the app, but not necessarily committed enough to subscribe to it. All e-dating platforms universally ask that anyone willing to explore their app be also willing to first create a profile. Once that profile is created, they're allowed to see something about the platform, whether it be full profiles or ones with blurred pictures, whatever the case. They're going to try to um, examine that, but they have to create the profile first. And for anybody who decides not to subscribe, they may very well just leave their profile out there. They know they haven't typed in any of their credit card information, so, what harm could it be to just leave the profile where it is and think about it and maybe subscribe later? Um, so that leaves an empty profile for the e-dating apps to use at their will. You can also create empty profiles by subscribing, but then turning off the auto renew and letting your subscription expire. And you have an empty profile in that case too. Now, how do the e-dating companies use these empty profiles? Here's what they're going to do. They're going to put the empty profiles out to their current subscribers. The reason they do this is because they want those subscribers to give them data. Basically, if the subscriber thinks that it's an attractive profile, they might swipe right or click like or even give super likes that they have to pay for to these empty profiles. Or maybe they write an exquisite message. And then the empty profiles that have the most attention are going to be the ones that the e-dating companies will push at the people who are considering subscribing but haven't done so yet, to try to get them to come into the platform. Now, those attractive profiles might be people with subscriptions, but a lot of them are also going to be empty profiles. And so it acts as a decoy. Every single empty profile that's attractive that the e-dating company uses to pull people in, it's really just a decoy. It's not real. They can't communicate. So there's two reasons to think that this is extremely unethical. One is you're luring people in to subscription from nonsense, from garbage, profiles that are empty. And, I call them empty because, if you go knocking at the door of this profile, you won't hear an answer because nobody's home. They don't even know that you're writing them. The house is empty. So when they lure people in and do that successfully based on these empty profiles, then that person's going to go knocking on the door and hear nothing because that person doesn't even know that there's attention being paid to them. So that's not great, but also trying to get data from your current subscribers on empty profiles that they can't possibly communicate with, that is extremely unethical. Because imagine, and you might not take too much imagination, maybe you've been in this situation, but imagine you're browsing profiles and you go, wow, this person shares a lot of interests with me. They seem to be the same level of attractiveness. They have the same relationship goals. This could be it for me. Maybe this is the chance I can finally take to stop subscribing to these dating apps. And so they write that person and maybe give them a super like just to let them know how interested they are. And then the person doesn't respond. It hits their self-esteem. As I talked about in the last video on addiction, we develop a dependency with these apps where our self-esteem is dependent on how much engagement we get from the app. And so if you're writing somebody that you think would be a great match and would be interested in you, and it seems like they're ignoring you, you might take a self-esteem hit because it hurts to know that somebody who you thought maybe make a good match to you is rejecting you. But they're not rejecting you. They just simply can't respond. There is a theory out there that these e-dating platforms are using fake profiles. This idea makes a lot of sense on a certain level because there are lots of empty profiles out there on their platform. But the theory goes that, they're using AI, or maybe they hired somebody to create fake profiles to lure people in. I think this would be extremely illegal. And at some point, a whistleblower within the company would finally just have to tell somebody, anonymously, of course, if they don't want to lose their job or sign a non-disclosure agreement, they would want to at least anonymously report this to a reporter so that the word gets out that this company is doing something really dirty. So there is that idea, but I don't believe that's true because they wouldn't want to go through that legal mess. So I get the theory behind it. I understand why people think there are fake profiles, but what I believe is they're actually empty profiles. Now, this might bring up an idea in your head. Perhaps we could do a class action lawsuit against these e-dating companies to try to, get some of that subscription money that people paid in back because they were just being decoyed and lured into a subscription under false pretenses. But I don't think that would work. I think they'd send in their corporate lawyers who would say, hey, we hope that these people will subscribe. We didn't send all their messages into the trash. No, they're attached to those profiles. And when they do subscribe, they'll get all of it. So there's really no complaint here. And I bet you the judge would side with them. Instead, what I think you should do is click like on this video. If you feel like you want to lift the curtain on these e-dating companies' schemes, then clicking like and subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment, those are the kinds of things that will help the Google algorithm see that this video is working, it's getting a lot of good information out there, and it should be put into more people's feeds or their searches. So I would hope that you could do that because we want to demand more. There's an explanation for why all these dating apps are getting such bad reviews. And, the further we dig into this and the further we get this message out, the better it will be for people. So if you want to help people out, please do that. Well, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it helped. Thanks.